Hello, everybody. Peter Gantner here. I am excited tonight to be able to present to you an opportunity in Web3. Now, I've been talking to a lot of people and even a lot of people that are in the crypto blockchain space. And when I say Web3, they're like, what is that? That's what I'm going to talk about tonight. What is it? Why is it important? Why do I believe that it is the great equalizer when it comes to the haves and the have-nots, right? The probably the biggest thing that could be done on two fronts. One is lifting people out of poverty. The other one is taking the middle class and giving them the opportunity to accelerate through there. And it's already done it. We don't have to think that it might do it or it might not do it. There are people that have been involved in the blockchain, crypto, Web3 space that have built absolute fortunes from very little or just a small amount of participation with projects. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I am going to go ahead and hit share sound. Bam, there we go. Let me get to this first tab here. So first of all, what is Web3 and why is it important to us? And why do I've coined it the participatory economy? So 10 years ago, I came up with an idea that being an entrepreneur and starting companies and watching them blow up into big successes, I realized that the customers, especially early adopters, were super important in the success of anything that I had ever done. And by the way, super important in the success of every single entrepreneur. I don't care if it's Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, it does not matter. We read their stories and we see how amazing it is. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for those early customers buying and using their products, they would never have become as wealthy as they are. The problem is the customers up to this point have not been able to share in the success of a brand or a product or a service or a platform. That is changing with Web3. So what are the benefits of Web3? First of all, greater control over your personal data. So that's number one. Let me get this, scroll down. Number two is true ownership of digital assets. Now, somebody asked me, what's a digital asset? A digital asset is a digital, basically on blockchain. So it's absolutely safe, secure, cannot be changed. It's what's called immutable, right? And what it does is that asset has a value to it. It could be in the form of a token, an NFT, or some other digital format. And in the case of Web3, this digital asset should represent ownership or the value that is being created by the community and, of course, the founders and the technology or the product or service that's being sold. Number three, access to decentralized finance. DeFi, there's been a lot of forces fighting against DeFi. And the reason why is because in the traditional finance category, there are barriers to a lot of us being able to participate in the very early stages of finance, not just investing in new companies, guys. There are ways that wealthy people get way better returns than you and I do, right? Because of that status. DeFi levels that playing field and it actually opens up these incredible opportunities for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you got $1 or $1,000,000. It opens up those financial opportunities. Number four, censorship resistant. Very important these times in spaces that we have a freedom of speech and to be able to, interact with that type of stuff. Direct monetization for creators. Now, you could say that Web 2, which is our current web that we're working with right now, guys, that's the one that everybody knows. That's the one you go on every day is Web 2. We're talking about Web 3, which is the future version of the web, which is up and coming and has been developing over the last few years. But direct monetization for creators, and here's the important one, and users. Even if you are a creator, let's say you're a creator and you're on YouTube, that's only one platform. But you're a user on more platforms than you would be a creator. So imagine all the platforms that you use on the internet: search, email, Amazon, eBay, anything that you're using right now. Imagine if you as a user had been compensated through digital assets in the value that was created by those companies. That's why this is an incredible. And to be honest with you guys, with AI coming up, and AI is going to replace maybe 400 million jobs around the world. Some of those jobs will be replaced with new opportunities. We know that. but some will not. And the key to that will be that Web3 allows some of those people, a portion of them, to make money without having to have a job, which I think is the best way to do it. I think everybody would love to be able to make money without having to have a job. And then lower cost, borderless transactions. So those are the key ones. I'd like to look at visual things. So I said to Grok, would you create a visual map that would show Web 2 and Web 3 and which is better in the key areas? So the key areas: decentralization, user data censorship, ownership, transparency, security, interoperability, and scalability. So those are the core ones. And if you look, guys, the blue is Web 3. Web 3 is better in every single category except for scalability, and it's tied in security. But in these other categories, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 categories, it beats Web 2. One it's tied in, and the other one is the scalability. Here's the important part. We've been waiting now for more than 5 years, myself personally, nearly 7 years actually, for someone to solve the scalability problem in Web 3. Because once that is solved, it'll go from about 7-8% of the population in the world that is engaged in Web3 and cryptocurrencies and blockchain to 40, 50, 60, 80%. And why do we know this? Because you can't have something that's better in every single area once scalability is solved and tied in security and not have it take off. It's impossible. It has to grab traction. There's no way it will not grab traction in this space. So what we found about 3 months ago was the company that has solved every single difficulty issue, this whole scalability problem right here. So WeFi, the company we're representing, is going to move scalability from here all the way out to number 10, which means Web3 will then be in all areas. And that is when the floodgates will be open and you'll have billions of people piling into Web3. So this is the company right here, WeFi.co. It was formed by an incredible team of people. The area that we're going into, so when you say, hey, what is the biggest and the best area for us to conquer to solve the problems of Web3, that just happened to be the banking industry. And the great thing is if you look at the banking industry, it is ripe for a new way of banking to be launched and to come out to the public. And because of, if you look at satisfaction with banks, it is very low, guys, compared to like car companies. People have their favorite car. Maybe they like Ford, maybe they like a Chevy, maybe they like a Toyota. But in the banking industry, most of us, the vast majority, use the bank that we like the most, like we can tolerate, right? I tolerate the banks that I use. I don't love them. If a better bank comes along, I'm jumping ship, right? So that's a good thing. Also, this solves the problems in the Web3 area, which is much better. But let's look at banking in 2024. That's the numbers we have. This is one of the most credible companies in the world. They did a study. They tracked banking in 2024, $5.5 trillion, guys, in revenues the banking industry took in, helping push the sector's net income to $1.2 trillion. More than 20% of the revenue they generated falls to the net income line there. The highest total ever for any industry, not just for the banking industry, for any industry in the world. So think about this. We're going into the banking industry. It's the biggest industry in the world, and we're solving the problems to take it and make it to where Web3 beats Web 2 in every single area. That's what's going to attract it. Now, being someone who has worked with entrepreneurs and helped launch several companies over the past, I have realized that the product needs to be good. You need the funding in place. You need a team of people to help launch it. But the biggest thing is you need the right founders. The founders that hopefully have already had some success in the marketplace, founders that understand how to scale and grow startups, but also then run existing companies. And that is one thing that WeFi has in spades. This is the reason why we jumped on board and decided to build and get involved in WeFi. The founder of it is Reeve Collins. There's also 4 other founders. We'll talk a little bit about them, and you'll actually get to hear from them. But Reeve Collins has already in his career created multiple successes, exits, but his biggest success, I'm going to come down here and we can look. His first, of course, was in internet marketing, and all products and services, any company you're going to launch needs marketing. And so it's good that the founder of the company has experience in that. And a matter of fact, that company did a $6.6 billion public offering in 2000. But it didn't stop there. He had another lucrative exit back in 2002, just 2 years later. And the list goes on and on of the innovations and the stuff that he was able to do. So in 2013, though, he discovered the crypto space. He was already wealthy and successful and had already built and scaled companies. So him and 2 other gentlemen got together and they said, hey, there is something absolutely needed for cryptocurrency to be able to take off and for this idea of Web3 to ever become a reality. And that invention, that creation was stablecoins. So here you have the most important, the foundation of the entire crypto industry was created by Reeve Collins. That makes him one of the top people in all of crypto in the world. I'm going to go over here and I forgot to pull it up. Let me do this. Coin market cap. Let's see here. We're going to go and actually look at the project that he created, which is right here. Tether, $186 billion market cap. He is a billionaire, but he made himself a billionaire. He was already wealthy when he started, but he made himself wealthy, but also he created a vast amount of wealth for other people. Okay. Now here's the cool thing. Bitcoin is the most important cryptocurrency. I would say Ethereum is the second most important because it created smart contracts and it allowed it to go into the DeFi space, which I talked about, which is so important for everyday people to be able to be involved with. But if it was not for Tether, stable coins, Bitcoin would not be worth 1.7 trillion. Ethereum would be not worth $3.61 billion. And the interesting thing is, look at the trading volume, daily trading volume. Bitcoin's about 40 billion. Ethereum was about 21 billion. The total trading volume is $85 billion with Tether. It is the most traded token on the face of this earth. So we have somebody who's going to disrupt the banking industry. He is already somebody who has disrupted an entire industry. There's not a lot of disruptors out there in this kind of a way, but now he's decided to do this. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. I got to back it up here and let you guys hear directly from Reeve on what he's doing with WeFi and why it's important and why you are important, why somebody invited you here tonight to take a look at it.
The next piece in delivering on the promise of blockchain, which is democratized access to high quality financial services for the world. We're finally ready for that. And so that's my company called WeFi. So that's wefi.co. And it is a neobank. We've coined a new term called neobank, a decentralized on-chain bank. So there's banking in the traditional systems, and then the neobank, which is using the traditional system, but with no physical presence, just online. And the neobank is, instead of using the traditional system, it's online, but it's using the future system, the blockchain. And so what that enables is just better services at cheaper rates, because the blockchain does what the regular system does, but just much, much, much more efficiently and on a global scale. And so we've packaged and simplified the complexities of utilizing blockchain-based wallets and making investments in DeFi and different things like that. We've really created a very simple and friendly user interface and beautiful brand around it called WeFi. So people can then just get higher quality services. So the first product is a card, and then it'll be lending, and then it'll be actually earning high yield on your savings account, above 10%, and then access to DeFi investments all through this user interface.
And has that launched yet?
That's launched.
Okay.
Yeah. And the beauty of WeFi is we're also putting the community first, and WeFi is truly delivering on the promise of Web3, which is ensuring the community is the one that gets rewarded for participation. So there's a token. So we have an ITO, which is an initial technology offering, and people can buy into that, which mines WeFi tokens, which power the network and provide all the rewards. And since we're doing that type of sale, because then tens of thousands of people, and soon over 100,000 people, will be investors and customers. Because while we do provide very efficient banking services in a very beautiful package, there are a lot of people providing banking services. So how do you get ahead in that? You get lots of customers by making them your investors and by rewarding them the most and by giving them the rewards of the network. And the larger the network grows, the more the consumers get.
Bingo, guys. There is why I believe Web3 will dominate Web2. Imagine if through Web2 in the late 90s, your email, your Google, and all of these other Web2 platforms and projects would have said, come use our services and our products. And instead of spending $50 or $80 or $100 on customer acquisition, they just gave us digital assets. And you had ownership in all the early platforms that you used over the internet. It would be a vast fortune. Web 2 has created trillions of dollars in wealth. The problem is it's consolidated in the hands of just a few founders, a bigger group of investors and executives. But at the end of the day, we, the customers, us using it. I was an early adopter, a user of PayPal. I don't own anything in PayPal. It was great to use it. They gave me $5 when I joined. But imagine if that, instead of a $5 US dollars they gave me, they would have given me a digital asset that then would have went up with the value of PayPal, right? Tremendous. So I'm going to introduce you to a couple others because a team one does not make, right? Takes several people to do it. Maxim is the CEO. I'll actually be meeting him in March. I'm going over to Dubai to meet with the executive team for a few days. Maxim is a very successful entrepreneur in his own right. He's in his 30s. He's been very successful in software development, in running companies and building them. Also, you have Roman Rosoff. Roman Rosoff, I would say, is probably the #1 developer on the planet in what is called neobanking. He created Wise Bank. It's the bank that I've gotten the most people that I talk to that use Wise Bank speak of it very fondly. I don't speak of the banks I use very fondly, but they do speak of Wise Bank fondly when they talk about it, especially people doing international business. He built all of that technology as well as several other in the banking industry. It's been over 10 years he's been building this type of software. He is the one that's doing all the product development and that. I'm going to actually let you hear from all 5 founders talking about their piece in WeFi.
Hello, my name is Reeve Collins. I created Tether, the world's first stablecoin. It's amazing to see how stablecoins have become the foundation of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Now I'm building WeFi, a bank reimagined with community at its core. Powered by blockchain, WeFi operates at a fraction of traditional banking costs, allowing us to share the value directly with our users. Our community doesn't just use the platform, they are the heart of it. They earn the rewards and reap the benefits of their contributions. With world-class financial products and a relentless focus on user empowerment, WeFi isn't just a bank, it's a global movement. Join us in building the future of financial access for the world.
WeFi is the first bank built for crypto. As stablecoins go mainstream, all transactions will eventually move to crypto rails because they are faster, cheaper, and smarter. Traditional banks will try to catch up, but we're already there. WeFi designed for a crypto native today and for the billion who will become crypto users tomorrow. We make banking more rewarding, more efficient, and more fun. WeFi isn't just a better crypto bank, it's a better bank, period.
Hey everyone, I lead product and technology at WeFi. This is a full-stack company built in-house by engineers, developers, and designers. Everything you see, from staking to real-time portfolio tracking, is custom and is modular and self-custodial. You can move money, stake, use, and hold all in one place. We ship fast, but we care about every detail: UX, security, and clarity. My job is to turn complexity into something people actually want to use. Not a theory, a working product. And we are just getting started.
At WeFi, I focus on bringing crypto into real everyday business. More people are using digital assets, but merchants still struggle to accept them. We're solving that. From crypto-enabled POS terminals to ATM networks and merchant tools, we build the infrastructure that makes crypto work on the ground. This isn't tomorrow's use case, it's already happening and we're making it simple.
I served as the global head of private banking for the National Bank of Abu Dhabi and was CEO to 3 banks in Switzerland. I spent over 25 years in global banking. Over time, I saw how traditional systems began to fall behind. Slow, expensive, very complex, and disconnected from the digital world. What drew me to WeFi is that it's not a patch on old finance. It's a purposely built neobank, fast, transparent, and ready for a global user base from day one. From experience, I can say that this is not a passing trend. It's a fundamental shift from closed systems to open ones, from control to collaboration. And WeFi is building that shift with clarity and conviction.
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I wish the internet, we could go back to the beginning of it, right? When it started and convince these companies, these platforms that we've been using, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or any of these, to be Web3 companies and allow us to use their products and services, create value for the companies, and receive financial benefit for that. So what I want to do right now is I want to jump into the 3 ways that we earn with WeFi. Okay, so the first is WeFi mining. We're going to actually mine the WeFi token. So if you don't know, we can come over here. We can put in WFI token. It is a free trading token, meaning it is in the marketplace. If you have a WeFi token, you can go to several exchanges and you can sell that token and get USDT for it, and then take that and send that out and spend it on whatever it is that you want. So it is a token that is in the marketplace. Today it is $2.79. It is just the beginning of where this thing is going to go. Before I get started on this, I want to say, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't consider this financial advice. I want to make sure that you do your own research. All I'm doing is presenting what I see in it and where it is going, with the strong team, with the finances in place, it solves incredible problems that the company that solves those problems is going to create a tremendous amount of wealth in the hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars, because of how many people will gravitate towards this concept and this idea of Web3, better banking, lower fees, and of course, being able to participate in the financial success of the product itself. So that's the WeFi token right there, guys. And what we're going to do is, and I'll show you, I'm actually going to set up and buy some ITO units. So the way that we mine is we purchase ITO units. They're 60 cents a piece. You got to buy a minimum of $50 the first time, $10 each time after that. And essentially they are buy, one click, and I'll actually show you, and then they will mine for the next 6.5 years and continue to produce the WFI token, which has value. Determining how long you lock those up depends on about how many tokens you'll end up with at the end of the 6.5 years, and I'll talk about that when we get there. There's also a WeFi app referral fee, meaning when you refer people that use the WeFi app, any banking service, loans, credit card, debit card, purchasing tokens through it, getting from crypto to fiat, anywhere there's a fee that's associated with it, mortgages, car loans, you name it, on the full service bank, anytime there's a fee, you can earn from any referrals that you do. So there's a referral program in place. So you have just as a passive bank user mining ITOs, and then you also have this. I'm going to actually show you a fourth one too, which is some ownership down the road in WeFi.co. Okay. And then, of course, there's a referral fees on the ITO sale. So when you purchase an ITO unit, there is a 25% referral fee that's paid out through the referral network. Okay, so those are the three ways. So I'm going to go into one of my accounts. This account's probably about a month old. I can come in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and hit right here, close that down. This is the account. It already has 2,408 ITO units. So these digital miners, they're mining the cloud. By the way, guys, it's eco-friendly because it's mining. It's not mining equipment. It is actually in the cloud. So 2,408 miners. You can see that they've been running for a little while. They've already mined 165.8 WeFi tokens. That's 59.03 tokens with about a 12.84% return. So what I want to do is I want to go in here and say, look, and this can be a new account or an account that already has it. I'm going to hit buy ITOs, guys. I'm going to hit on USDT. It is going to pop up and say, oh, I don't have enough money in there. So let me go back here. Normally that'll pop up and say top up, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go down to my wallet. I'm going to grab an address here. This is how simple it is. And by the way, if you're like, well, I don't have any crypto, don't worry about it. We'll help you with that and get that done. I'm going to pop over here, go here. I am going to go to here. I'm going to paste in that address. I'm going to send $55. I'm going to click right there. I'm going to hit send. Now $55 in USDT is headed towards my wallet at this point. We'll go back over here. And while we're waiting for that, WeFi did something that was very Web3. So I've said for a long time that most of the people in the crypto space, blockchain, do not understand really what Web3 is, and that is where people benefit. One of the other benefits, for every time that you buy an ITO, you actually get a gift certificate for ownership in WeFi.co. So the WeFi token runs the entire decentralized side. All the transactions, security, all that stuff is run by that. And that's where, but there's a core company that is going out and getting all the banking regulation, all the regulations in place, all the licenses and all that stuff that will be run. Well, they're sharing in that ownership. And you can see I have 2,408 those, and I have 2,408 ITO units. But that was not the case, actually. They were offering 30% extra ITO units for quite some time. And then recently they said, hey, we're going to change this. We're going to offer 30% more also shares to everybody who buys ITO units from last week on. But one of the cool things that they did, understanding and knowing what Web3 is, they went back and gave all of us that had ever purchased ITO units since the shares were put in place additional shares. So this was like 2,100, and it was able to jump up to over 2,400 shares there. So that proves to me that they do understand Web3 and they are here to generate wealth for it. So they have some estimates down here. $2,408 would be really a low side for these once these gift certificates are issued. So that's actually more than I put in this account up to this point. But it could go as high as $196,000 just for these shares. That does not include any value of the tokens that it will mine for the next 6.5 years. And it's already mined 59 in the last month. So, you know, you do some multipliers on this. This will be thousands of tokens. And so the token right now at $2.79. We believe it can 10x from there to go to $27.90 and even higher. So you can see that this will create tens of thousands of dollars in WFI tokens over the next few years. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. You saw me send some crypto in. We're going to click here. We're going to click USDT. You are going to see that now it is in my wallet already, $50.77. Very quick. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. I'm going to take off the 22 cents. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. I am going to select 5 years, which means I'm locking up the tokens for 5 years to get the extra 30% boost. The great thing is since this is a bank, in about 12 months, I will be able to borrow against the tokens that it mines. So I'm not really tying up my money for 5 years. I'm just locking up the tokens for 5 years, and then I'll have access to that growth. I go ahead and hit it. Boom, guys, I am done. That is all I need to do. I need no special equipment, no special software, no, nothing. And you can see, of course, we added 4998. So we went up in the number of ITO units that we have right there. And then we're going to come down here, guys, and we're going to hit ownership. And you'll see that actually I can verify and receive 117 more of the shares. I'm going to click on verify. Ta-da! Now I have a gift certificate for the additional shares. So I have this certificate that will produce revenue for me down the road, being a dividend producing stock, or I could sell it in the open market, right? And retrieve money from that way if I ever decided I wanted to sell the shares. And then, of course, now I have 52525. So I have the additional miners, 117 miners. So now I'm going to mine even more WFI tokens in the marketplace. So that is on that side of it. Now, I had mentioned there's a referral program. So this is my referral back office. I talked to about a dozen people about this, guys, that became members. And a few of those decided to start sharing it with other people. That has now become a network of 834 affiliates. And I'm receiving income when they buy ITO units, when they buy WFI tokens through it, when they use their debit card. So outside the US, the debit card is already available. So you can see that I'm generating revenue right now from the cards. You can see that I'm generating revenue right now from the purchase of WFI tokens. This is something that was just activated a few days ago. And then as well, I will earn from the banking. And the great part about it is it's also available for you to be able to earn from that banking. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Guys, Web3 is coming. It is so much more beneficial for people. We're starting in the banking industry, but I see this as a trend that's going to take place. And I believe that there's a vast amount of wealth. I know out of the 800 something people that we have in, there's a ton of those that are going to be millionaires. Lots of them will end up with a few $100,000 extra dollars, $50,000, $100,000, depending on their commitment level, whether they started to share it with other people or if they just decided to get involved themselves. But this is a change that is needed. The approval rating of banks is pretty low, right? It'll pop in my head in a second. They do a survey and it's like, do you like the bank? Do you tolerate the bank, or do you hate the bank? I think we're going to have a lot more tolerates and hates than actually like their banks. And this is like back in the old day. Remember, you go open up a banking account and they give you a toaster, right? They don't give you toasters anymore, but imagine instead of a toaster, you're getting a digital asset that will go up with the value of the bank. And this being a technology company in the banking industry, the value proposition there is huge, right? A technology company in retail is Amazon. It's worth $2 trillion. A car company that's a technology company, Tesla's worth over $1 trillion. So there's a vast amount of wealth to be built here. And the key is this has the right team. And from some information I learned when I was in California, it has the finances. It will cost tens of billions of dollars to build a global bank. And I'm telling you right now, this team has all of those funds and more available to build out this bank. So thank you guys for joining us. If somebody shared this video with you, get back with them. They have an affiliate link because it is an affiliate program. If you want to get in just as a passive, I just want to get some ITO units, get them mining. When the banking starts, I want to get it my banking account because you're going to get 18% on your deposits. So much better than the bank right now. I think even high interest rate savings account right now, or I think the top is 4.5%. So much better value for each person that's doing it. And then, of course, if you want to share this and help us grow and bring Web3 to the world, that's great as well. You can make some fairly substantial money. I've made now well over $35,000 in USDT, which I was able to withdraw and use for, whatever I wanted to use it for, on top of the WFI tokens that I'm mining, the shares that I've received. And so just by sharing this concept and this idea with people, that levels the playing field for middle class and for poor people around the world. So thank you for joining us. Get back with the person who invited you or shared this video with you, and we look forward to seeing you in WeFi.